All right, back on Sports Bit, Betty and Insight today, Paulie and Teddy. Follow us on Twitter at Paulie Howard, at Teddy_covers. Super Bowl, here we go. On Sunday, Patriots 3, 59 the total. Before we get to everything, round of applause for Kraft and the Patriots. Kraft has been has owned the team for 23 years. They made the playoffs 19 times, only 2 seasons under 500, 12 conference championships, 8 trips to the Super Bowl for Kraft. You'll never see a run like this again in NFL history. And how about Art Modell? This 17 years ago, Kraft hired Belichick. Modell said, don't hire him. It'd be the biggest mistake of your life. I think it's worked out. Now, as far as the Patriots and the Super Bowl, the Dogs have won 5 in a row, depending on how you want to grade the Seahawks Patriots line. 7-1-1, counting the Patriots as a pick in the last 9. Giants with the outright win against the undefeated Patriots, double digits. One of the times the Las Vegas lost, rather. Arizona gets the money against the Steelers, even though with the Harrison pick 6. And the Saints beat Manny and the Colts, Teddy.
Well, yeah, and that's just the start of it. I mean, that was the first 3 dogs. Then we had the one favorite covered. The Packers covered -2.5 or -3 against the Steelers. You remember that game? Was it the Mendenhall fumble? I'll tell you what, I had Green Bay in my pocket. They were not the right side. The one favorite during this whole stretch that is covered wasn't a right side. And if he doesn't fumble, I really think Pittsburgh would have won that game in straight-up fashion. Instead, Aaron Rodgers got his only ring, and Mike McCarthy got his only ring. But after that, then the Giants beat the Pats again as a dog, and the Ravens beat the Niners straight up as a dog, and the Seahawks annihilate the Broncos as a dog. Now, again, the Pats-Seahawks 2 years ago, whatever trend you see is using that trend in the line there in your favor. You could make a case, New England closed -1. You can make a case, Seattle closed -1. You can make a case for either one of those teams as a favorite. The way I've chosen to do it is I'm grading that game as a pick'em, and you don't count it, favorite dog, da-da-da-da. But again, last year, Denver, 4.5-point dog at post, and they too won the game outright. So if you've been laying points in recent Super Bowls, you haven't done really well, and most of them have been wrong sides. Again, the Giants, the Pats never had a chance as double-digit dog. Even with that Harrison pick 6, the Steelers, the Steelers couldn't cover against Arizona and needed a late TD just to win it. Santonio Holmes, let's flash that photo. That was an exciting Super Bowl. The Saints, on and on down the line, the Saints were the right side against Indy. The Giants were the right side the second Super Bowl against the Pats. And the Ravens were all over the Niners. And the Seahawks were all over the Broncos. And the Broncos last year all over the Panthers. Laying points is we get you crushed in recent Super Bowls.
So it's the number 1 scoring offense, points per game against the number 1 scoring defense. The last 6 times that's happened in the Super Bowl, including last year, the defense has won 5 of the last 6. Now, we mentioned Andy Isko's tweet. Teams with the better regular season record. This is real. Even if it's random, at Vegas Andy 7-11, teams with the better regular season record just won 14-1 ATS since Super Bowl 30. And you also have that trend where teams have been horrible, absolutely horrible, when they score more than 40 points ATS the following week. That's what you're looking at with Atlanta, too. Be careful with that one.
Sure. Remember what happened with last year? The Carolina came in off a pretty big blowout win and didn't look very good in the Super Bowl. But again, that regular season record, one team since Super Bowl 30 with a better regular season record has covered. You say maybe that's random. Then 5 Super Bowls, both teams had the same 1-loss record. That dates back to 1997 when the Cowboys beat the Steelers 27-17, the year where Barry Switzer got his ring, but the Steelers got the money, plus 12.5, plus 13 in that game. The only time the team with the better regular season record won the game and covered the point spread, I should say. Covered the spread. That was Tampa Bay beating Oakland in Super Bowl 37. Remember, they were the underdog in that game, despite the fact that they had the superior record. But what about the Pats in the Super Bowl? The Pats have a pretty significant Super Bowl history with Brady and Belichick. They've been in 6 Super Bowls, and in all those Super Bowls combined, the one game I'm grading as pick, the favorite hasn't covered any of them. The dog covered the other 5.
So we're talking historic totals here with Atlanta involved. You saw it in the NFC Championship game. It continues in the Super Bowl. Of 9 Super Bowls with a closing total of 50 or higher. Of those 9, only 3 went over, and the highest total before this game was Indy and the Saints, and that went under. But here
Yeah,
you look at some of these totals haven't even been close, though, Teddy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You say 3-6 against the closing total to the where the overs have cashed 3 times. Yeah, maybe, because 2 of the 3 overs got graded as half-point wins, and these are from games back in the day where I can't tell you what the total really was. You know what I mean? You can say when you're looking at point spread numbers from the 80s and 70s, take them with a big grain of salt. Anything in the 21st century is real. Most of the stuff in the 90s is real. Prior to that, it's pretty dicey. But, when you talk about the 4 Super Bowls in the 21st century with a total higher than 50, and none of them have been close. I mean, really, none of them have been close to going over. You had the Pats and the Rams with a total of 53. That finished 37. That was New England's first Super Bowl title. You had the Pats and the Giants, and that was the offense that couldn't be stopped with Randy Moss and company, total 54.5, and they finished with 31. Again, multiple scores under. Saints and Colts, they had a pick 6. They had and even with the non-offensive TD, 56.5 total, finished 48, more than a touchdown under. And of course, in 2011, the Giants Patriots rematch also finished more than 2 touchdowns under the total. So you've been betting these high totals over of late. You haven't done very well this century.
Does anything jump at you as far as the sides with the Super Bowl history?
Oh, gosh. I mean, there's so much, You can look back to the 49ers, great teams of the 80s that we loved. And that was, of course, the era of the blowouts. We can go back to, just a few years ago with the Saints beating Peyton Manning, the Tracy Porter pick 6 as the difference maker in that ball game. But, it's not all about the memory. I mean, I got a ton of memories. I remember getting really drunk at the Bucs Raiders Super Bowl, and that was an easy one. All the wise guys in town had Tampa Bay. I had a big bet on Tampa Bay that game, and we all met up at one of the local pubs, and I was I was a mess by halftime, but it was a really fun Super Bowl. You get a handful of those, Paul. Steelers, Arizona is one that I was just on fire that year. I couldn't lose, and Arizona, I had a big play on Arizona. Even that pick 6 for halftime didn't make me crazy. I was so calm. I'm like, it's fine. Zona's covering. It's all good. Kurt Warner got me the money.
Excellent there. You're right. Thank God for the props, because we had that run where like 8 or 9 years these games were over in the second quarter, and they were unwatchable and nothing but blowouts. Hey guys, for the full video, go to sbrpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.